Well, in my age, my impression of the Playboy was perhaps a little scary.
Welcome back to More Girls Next Door, where I recap, review, and rehash your favorite Y2K reality series, The Girls Next Door. I'm your host, mega fan, and Y2K survivor Megan. Come on to my house. If you've been keeping up with this podcast, you're probably anticipating today's recap of The Girls Next Door Season 1, Episode 3, entitled Happy Birthday, Kendra, which originally aired on August 14th, 2005. Before we jump into Episode 3, it's time to crack open the Y2K vault from 2005. Our historical reference for today: Martha Stewart stepped back into the public eye after serving 5 months at the federal prison camp in Alderson, West Virginia. Convicted in 2004 on charges related to insider trading, the lifestyle mogul's fall from grace had dominated headlines, turning America's domestic doyen into a tabloid fixture. But if critics expected a diminished figure, they underestimated her. Upon her 2005 release, Stewart transitioned to house arrest at her Bedford, New York estate, wearing an ankle monitor and serving additional supervised release. Almost immediately, the tone shifted from scandal to comeback. Within months, she announced new television projects, including The Martha Stewart Show, and began rebuilding her brand with calculated precision. Are we ready? Kick off your candies, hang up your trucker hat, and silence your sidekicks, kids. Let's get into Happy Birthday, Kendra. The episode Happy Birthday, Kendra begins with clips of the mansion entrance, servers hard at work, and Kendra lifting weights to the goofiest stock hip-hop background music I've ever heard. If you know, you know. Can't be stopped. What you do, get popped one by one, then you all get dropped, broken down. Sorry. Like I said, if you know, you know. In her commentary, Kendra does what she always does early in Season 1. Reminds us she's the relatable one.
I love the staff. They're not just help, they're also people too,
She has this ongoing I'm still a normal girl storyline, like she's auditioning to be America's coolest girlfriend, while living in a literal mansion with peacocks and a curfew. She's even talking about the mansion staff and saying she feels bad when they have to do things for her. She'll go down and get her own food. And honestly, that tracks with how production wants her positioned. Holly's the wife vibe, Bridget's the wholesome Disney princess, Kendra's the wild card who still feels like your friend from high school. It's a character triangle, and this episode leans into it. Despite all the lore around Hugh Hefner's rules, i.e., no fraternizing with the staff, we see Kendra hanging around the kitchen and yapping with the cooks, kind of underfoot and a little annoying. It doesn't seem like Kendra is there to relieve the staff of some of their duties. It's more like she seems bored and has a hankering for some attention. Si, senor, mi amor, I'm a Mexican rapper, ah ha ha. The big outing in this episode is the Playboy Jazz Festival, an outdoor amphitheater concert which Playboy sponsored and Hefner attended annually. Anytime Hef leaves the mansion, it's treated like a presidential motorcade. We follow mansion staffer Brian as he narrates the preparation like it's a NASA launch. The party bus arrives, except it's less bus and more luxury condo on wheels, stocked with 24 bottles of Cristal and 24 bottles of Chardonnay. Because nothing says casual jazz afternoon like a mobile liquor inventory that rivals a wedding. Along with Holly, Bridget, and Kendra, of course, Hef's entourage today also includes Sarah Underwood, who we met last episode and who will become a fixture throughout the series. And I also recognize Destiny Davis, Las Vegas native and Miss January 2005, who often plays the D to Kendra's dumb. Holly takes her place next to Hef while the rest of the crew spreads about the mobile mansion. Kendra and Destiny report to the back of the bus, where their shenanigans are isolated from the rest of the passengers. The seating arrangements aren't lost on Holly, who I suspect often felt left out by her main girlfriend obligations. There will be more times where Kendra seems to adopt a playmate and isolate as a twosome. Watching the show back when it was on cable TV, I didn't particularly like that Kendra couldn't seem to easily acclimate amongst scenes with Holly and Bridget. But today, I tend to give her more grace, as I can't help but wonder if the other girlfriends were as inclusive of Kendra as they claim they were. And we have to recognize the age difference. Technically, Kendra is still a teenager, although she is mere hours from her 20th birthday. But with an over 30-year-old Mother Goose and a lady of the manor in her mid-20s as her roommates, I can sympathize with Kendra wanting to while out around peers closer in age.
When we walk into the Hollywood Bowl, everybody notices, because it's a group of girls and there's a lot of whistles and catcalls and stuff.
Check this out! Damn!
I like the attention. I think it's really flattering.
Hey!
Hef's arrival at the concert with his femme fatales in tow garners attention which Holly and Bridget clearly like. Poor girls, any male attention from outside the geriatrics that hang at the mansion, even catcalls from stadium security, and they're both strutting a little straighter. The first celebrity face attending the jazz festival that Hef greets is Jamie Foxx. I've always been a huge fan, so I have to mention this degree of separation, and I hope not to bore you. But a dear friend of mine grew up with Jamie Foxx. They went to the same elementary or high school, or maybe it was both. It's not her claim to fame, so I had known her well for several years before she told me of the connection when I brought him up in conversation. And I thought it was so cute that she called him Eric. Oh, that reminds me, guys, I have to decide when to tell you the story of how I met Bridget Marquardt. Completely unplanned, just ran into her, and that was also the day I realized I'm a bumbling idiot when starstruck. Anyway, that'll be a fun little side convo at some point, but gonna leave that little cliffhanger right here for now.
I didn't expect them to go do it.
Does anybody happen to own a beach ball? Oh, who else got one? Brian, get that one. Get that one.
Back at Jazz Fest, Kendra sends Brian on a quest to steal beach balls from other patrons because it's her birthday and she wants them. They don't even return them after the event, since we see the mansion staff, in a last-minute birthday homage, blow up and tape the beach balls to Kendra's bedroom door. But I'm getting ahead of myself, all to say, what baby wants, baby gets. The beach balls request is also one of the earliest examples of Kendra testing how much she can ask for and how fast people will move to make it happen. Not necessarily malicious, maybe just instinctive. And it works.
Somebody's whooping it up back there.
On the bus ride home, Kendra and Destiny are fully feral. Kendra fashions an outfit out of glow sticks, twerks out the bus window, and flashes unsuspecting pedestrians. And that right there is why Kendra became such an immediate reality TV magnet. Because Kendra will be at a sleepy jazz concert and still find a way to turn it into spring break energy. She injects chaotic youth into spaces that feel sedated. And production loves it. Plus, the show needs it, because without Kendra, the mansion with weekly backgammon tournaments, silent film features, and a bedtime can start to feel a little like a nursing home. Back at the mansion, Kendra is greeted with dog poop outside of her bedroom. And this is one of those blink and you'll miss it moments where the Playboy fantasy flickers. We're sold chandeliers, champagne, and perfectly fluffed pillows, but what we witness is barking, chaos, and mess. I remember feeling uneasy even back then about how often the pets seemed confined or stressed. They're all gone now, so I won't harp on it, but the contrast between fantasy and reality is hard to ignore.
My family is coming up. I can't wait. And that's all I want, to be around me for my birthday.
The next day is Kendra's luau birthday party at the mansion, and we learn her family will be coming in from San Diego. Holly and Bridget do some last-minute shopping, thoughtfully loading up on Hawaiian-inspired decorations, mob and Scarface-themed gifts, and a corgi balloon to boot. In a yellow bikini, Kendra greets her mom, Patty, her grandmother, Mary, who she calls Mom, her younger brother, Colin, who would have been 16 at the time, and lastly, her friend, Brittany. It's kind of sad to remember all the strife that occurred post Girls Next Door with Kendra and her mother. They say fame is a tricky thing. Some say the family drama began when Kendra's ex-husband and former NFL player turned gossip column regular, Hank Baskett, entered the picture. Others report that the mother-daughter relationship turned rocky due to Kendra's Girls Next Door popularity. Holly and Bridget have even suggested that Patty became jealous of her daughter's lavish lifestyle at the hand of her 80-year-old millionaire boyfriend. But all we see in this episode, if you ask me, is a normal, gracious, loving, and supportive family.
We drove up from San Diego. We just love spending time with Kendra. And we have to be together on her birthdays. Well, in my age, my impression of the Playboy was perhaps a little scary. Naked people running everywhere. I didn't want my daughter having any part of that. And she said, trust me, it's not like what you think it is.
Mom, look, we match.
I wore the same color.
Look, we're matching.
Whoops.
Oh, you're stepping.
Kendra's grandmother is a doll, a class act of a lady who clearly adores Kendra, and the admiration goes both ways. We see a different, more wholesome and humbled side of Kendra in this episode, which is nice. At the backyard luau, we see familiar faces like Jillian Grace and Sarah Underwood. Holly and Bridget, true to form, have both customized their bikini outfits within a half-inch of fabric. They alone could have been the party decorations. Hef joins in his signature captain's hat, and Kendra with fam finally make their entrance. Cocktails are sipped from coconuts, and leis are draped around partygoers' necks. We find out that Kendra requested the infamous HMH chocolate cake as her birthday dessert, and Holly has drawn on it in icing Kendra's dog Martini with a tennis ball. Earlier in the episode, Holly made a comment about birthdays being a big deal at the mansion. But if you ask me, a mansion birthday is never purely about the birthday girl. It's also a performance of how loved you are, how celebrated you are, how important you are in the ecosystem, and frankly, how valued you are by Hef. All in all, it seems everyone has done their parts and beyond to make sure it's a special day for Kendra, and everyone seems to be enjoying the party.
Volleyball time! Who's gonna play
Except
volleyball?
at some point for Holly, the only one who decides to fall asleep by the pool.
Get your little ass here now! Holly, wake the up!
I mean, come on, even Grandma's battery hasn't run out yet. I don't know if she's got a little too tipsy or if she's doing that thing she does at times, blatantly displaying her feelings about the extra attention Kendra's receiving. Holly in the Girls Next Level podcast explains that she was simply tired from all the party planning, and she had maybe overdone it with the cocktails, but I don't know if I'm taking her at her word. This is not the first time Holly goes narcoleptic during the most rowdy of shenanigans. I'm just pointing it out. Whether conscious or not, Holly disengaging at the peak of the party feels less like exhaustion and more like withdrawal. When you can't control the spotlight, sometimes you just exit it. As for Colin, Kendra's younger brother, here he is at his first Playmate pool party, fully dressed with a baseball cap pulled down below his brow. Poor kid is trying to disappear, but he sticks out like a sore thumb. Kendra, however, radiates gratitude. She thanks Holly, Bridget, Hef, her family, everyone. And bringing Kendra's family in this early reminds us these aren't just characters. They're real people with real outside lives, even if the mansion tries to swallow that whole. That evening, and after saying goodbye to her family, Kendra's still in her feelings about the whole day. She timidly enters Hef and Holly's bedroom with Bridget to express one more time how thankful she is to all of them.
Come on. Yeah, I just want to thank you guys. You guys really made me happy today.
It's a wonderful week.
Thank you, Holly.
You're welcome.
This is like the best day of my life. I'm glad you liked it. But let's not have a moment. Seriously, guys, growing up, I had dreams about such a perfect day.
I'm not going to touch that.
She's emotional, and it appears genuine. And I ask, was Kendra grateful because this was rare for her, or because she knew it wouldn't always be this way? Regardless, we don't see this kind of reaction from the other girls when it comes to birthday hoopla, which also makes me wonder. Are they simply more reserved with their emotions, or have they been spoiled by all the Playboy parties, occasions, and celebrations? I want to derail just a tad to further examine the idea of competition, or perhaps jealousy, particularly as it may apply to Holly and Kendra. While doing some more Girls Next Door research, I came across an article that reminded me how differently the narrative frames Holly's arrival at the mansion compared to Kendra's. Kendra's origin story is often described as instant and organic, an immediate spark, effortless chemistry, and a swift, almost fated invitation to move in. Holly's path, by contrast, is routinely portrayed as something she had to work for. Holly was first invited to the Playboy Mansion for a party by Hef's private doctor, who had noticed her while she was working an event as a Hawaiian tropic model. At the time, she was a struggling, aspiring actress and model and a full-time Hooters waitress, carrying credit card debt from her breast enhancement surgery. By Holly's own admission, she was actively looking for opportunities to improve her circumstances. But unlike Kendra's meet-cute connection, Holly and Hef's relationship didn't begin with animalistic attraction or instant chemistry. It unfolded slowly over many days, nights, club outings, and calculated proximity, Holly inserting herself into Hef's orbit, lingering within his entourage. Ultimately, it wasn't Hef who asked Holly to move into the mansion, it was Holly who petitioned him. And his response was notably unromantic. You can stay for a while, and we'll see how it works out. When you place these two origin stories side by side, it's not hard to see how a hierarchy could form or at least be perceived. One woman is framed as effortlessly chosen, the other as persistent and provisional. That contrast alone helps explain why competition, insecurity, or quiet resentment might simmer beneath the surface even years later. I'd love to know what you think about all this, so drop me a comment and I'll engage. Well, that concludes this episode of More Girls Next Door. Next time, we join the girls on their first collective day trip to Las Vegas. There's sun, fun, drinks, and drama, all wrapped up in a luxury hotel suite. Plus, we'll discuss the details previously teased about the elusive Audra. You don't want to miss it. I love you guys. See you next time.
the bricks.